Thank you very much. Today's class is going to be about idol worship. It is going to be very interesting. So the question is, what do you worship? What do you adore? What do you believe in? Okay, so from the ancient past, people needed to believe in something. The people needed to feel protection by a superior power. So there were many religions. There was a very big history in mythology because people needed to believe that there was a superior power that controlled the life of all men and the fate and the weather and many situations that were out of their control. So, for example, we have the Greek mythology. Have you heard about Greek mythology? For example, who was Zeus? Who was Hercules? Do you know anything about that, Nelly? What about that?
I don't know the history about these persons.
No?
No.
Pablo, what about you? Don't you know anything about the Greek people?
Yes, I a little bit. Zeus, it's a god, god of gods.
Uh-huh.
Hercules, it's a demigod, semidios.
Uh-huh. A semigod.
Semigod, and I read the these histories. I love read, and I read Iliada and Odyssea. Well,
Uh-huh.
after
That's it.
when I was a child in the school,
Mm-hmm. That's it.
in the and in movies, uh, the I see in the movies fragments of the that histories.
Uh-huh. That is very interesting. Talking about movies, there was Furious, no, Titan's Fears, I guess that was the
Yes.
name. And it
Yeah.
talks about many personages in the mythology, like Perseus.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The history of the Perseus.
uh-huh.
Yes, I remember that movie. I see in the cinema. I'm
Wow.
so and in this moment, well, not in this moment here, but
In that.
in, in that it's remain do a do a remain. I don't know how say la volvieron a hacer.
Uh-huh. They produced it again.
Yes, with a new actors, but I see the original. I think the
Uh-huh.
first.
You know what? I liked very much the first version. Then this one is good, but I think that the first was a little more interesting.
I remember another one. Its name is Jason and the Argonauts.
Uh-huh.
I think it's the same epoca,
Uh-huh, the same stage.
the same stage.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's interesting. Yes, well, in Greece, people believed that there were many people, I mean, who controlled the war, and they were um, very special people. And if they got angry, the world could end because they wanted to, and so they
Mm-hmm.
created catastrophes and wars, and so they were the gods. No, for example, who was the goddess of the war according to the Greek culture?
remember Jupiter.
Jupiter, yes, and there was also Athena.
The Athena.
There was also the god of the seven seas. No, it was Neptune.
Neptune is the sea. Neptune is the sea.
And there was also the sun god, who was Mercury.
Yes. Well, I'm confused because the Greeks are nominate and the Romanos change the names.
Yes, I remember also that the Romans had similar culture, and for
Yes.
example, Neptune was the god of the seas for the Greek people, but for the Romans it was Poseidon.
Yes, I'm confused.
See, I think that it was, or I don't know if it was the opposite. It was Poseidon for the Greek and Neptune for the Romans. Okay, and so there were also Aphrodite, who was the goddess of love.
It's yes, and Aphrodite is a personage of the warrior, the caballo de Troya.
But Troya was about the romance, or was it the? Oh my! Yes, you know what? I am confused also.
I remember the Hector love and the wife of the king of the Greek of the king.
Yes.
Hector is a Trojan, and I think it's this esta diosa, la del amor.
Aphrodite.
Aphrodite. I think Aphrodite is symbolic in this problem. I remember. Well, I read a long time.
Yeah.
Time along.
But there was also another personage. It was Cupid, but I don't remember if Cupid was a Roman personage or he was a Greek personage.
I don't know. Cupid, I don't know. I think it's a Greek, I think, but I don't remember.
Jesus Christ. We are so confused. All right. Well, the fact is that there was a culture about gods, semi-gods, that even there were superbears. For example, Zeus had children with many different women, and so Hera, her wife, was angry, and she converted some of those children in different non-human creatures like this, the faun. That he was one of the Zeus sons, Zeus children, but as she was so angry, she converted the poor boy into a half animal and half human. So Jesus, it was so confusing.
It's a dysfunctional family, I think.
Yeah, too much. All right, and so, okay, let's talk about some other cultures. For example, here we have the Egyptian culture. As far as we can see, they had lots of idols. They had also different gods. Nelly, do you know anything about the Egyptian culture?
No, teacher. My problem is that I don't read about the culture.
It's okay, don't worry. You know what? Of course, they are topics for conversation, but remember that the most important objective in here, the main objective, is communication. So, if you don't know about the topic, don't worry, you can ask questions, and that's communication also. For example, you could say, okay, so Pablo, you know anything about the Egyptian? Where do they come from? What were their activities? I don't know. Anything that you may use your English with so that you communicate. That's the only objective.
Yeah, well, of the Egyptian, I know igual little bit. I remember gods of Ra, Isis, Osiris, I think.
Yes,
And they building the pyramids. The pyramids are big mausoleos. Big. It's a.
tombs.
It's a. It's a cemetery. It's a tumba. It's at the
Tombs.
tomb of the pharaoh.
Yes, that's it. You know what? I think that the Egyptian culture was one of the greatest cultures in the ancient Egypt because they not only believed in gods, but they also had many different inventions, very important inventions. Do you know any inventions of the Egyptian culture?
Invention. No, the pyramid, the aqueductos, maybe.
That's it. And you know what? The pyramids are considered to be some of the greatest architecture creations, and because in that time they didn't used to have some instruments for measuring the precision of the buildings, and they were perfectly symmetric. They were also, they had the measures in comparison of the radium of the world, I mean. So they were incredible observatories because they were created not only as tombs, but also for attracting magnetism to the earth and to bring energy. So they were incredible edifications.
Yes, and yeah, it's astronomics culture.
That's it.
They invented the mathematics.
Part of the mathematics. They perfectioned.
And the calendar and clock.
They started using the sun clock and the most rudimentary calendar. So yes, they were a very important culture. And talking again about the ancient Egyptians, I mean, you remember that they believed that cats were sacred. They believed that cats were the animals who were in charge of conducting people after their death to heaven. So people thought that cats were the impersonation of one god who was going to protect the people when they died. So they used to worship cats. All right, so do you know anything about another culture Another ancient culture.
The I don't remember.
No. What about the Aztecs? The Aztec culture was one of the greatest in Latin America.
Well, the Aztec, I remember.
What about them? Please talk to us about it.
Well, it's well, it's the Mesoamerican culture, and I remember the 3 different areas: Aridoamérica, Mesoamérica, and Oasis America. The Aztec are in Mesoamerica. Mayas first. Well, the first culture, that's Olmecas. The Olmecas, it's a mother culture of the Mesoamerica. And the Mayas are in every age. It's the first culture too of the Olmecas, and Mayas are sobrevivieron.
Survived
The different events. Yeah, the Aztec is the last culture what before the Spanish come back, and I remember it's a pyramid, building the pyramids and big cities. The Spanish went back when arrived to Mesoamerica, compared the big Tenochtitlan with the Venecia.
with Venice.
Because are building in the water.
Yeah, and they were extremely beautiful and colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. And what about their idolatry?
It's Huitzilopochtli, Quetzalcoatl. I think Huitzilopochtli, I remember it's a god of the war.
That's it.
Quetzalcoatl, it's the big god.
Yeah, the father of the gods.
The father. Tlaloc is the raining.
The rain and water.
Yes. And we have a woman, and I can't remember. Coatlicue. Coatlicue. It's a woman god.
A goddess.
I remember that.
That's it. Thank you very much. Yes, Nelly, what do you know about the Aztecs? Nelly, hello.
Hi, teacher. Okay, the Aztec language was Nahuatl.
That's it.
And the Aztecs settled in Mexico, Tenochtitlan, in the center of the Valley of Mexico.
The Valley of Mexico, yes.
The Aztecs excelled in the construction of cities, science, and various expansions of art.
They were very good artists. They're very extremely good constructors, architects.
Yes.
Hey, that's it. Thank you very much. Yes, and their culture was based on idolatry. They believed that there were some gods, some personalities who controlled the rain, the sun, the earth, fertility. So they used to worship those gods, and according to some versions also, they believe that there was an animal. The the animal was the Xoloitzcuintli. It was a small dog, hairless dog, who was the impersonation of the god Xolotl, who was the god of the darkness. And so they said that the Xoloitzcuintli was a sacred dog. And so whenever you died, similar to the Egyptian culture with cats, the Xoloitzcuintli was going to help you pass through the river, and you are going to be to the Ipalnowayan with to the other world, to the Mictlán. And so the Xoloitzcuintli was very important. It was a sacred animal. They also worshipped the jaguars and the eagles. So for them, they were very important animals. There were also for example, the knights, the jaguar knights, the eagle knights, caballero águila, caballero jaguar, who were very important levels in their army. And they were gaining those ranges, those levels, according to their will, to their braveness. So if the soldiers were very brave, they could be jaguar knights. Oh, do you know anything about that? The animal worshipping in the Aztec culture?
I remember in the altar of the Death Aftal, el altar de muertos.
Uh-huh.
The Xoloitzcuintli, it's a important it's an important piece.
Element.
It's an important element.
Yes, that's it, because they said that the Xoloitzcuintli was the animal who was going to conduct the soul of the person to the other life, to the Mictlán. Yeah, so it was very interesting. All right. So,
I heard
yes.
that the Xoloitzcuintli had the ability to ward off and protect the homes on evil spirits.
Hey, yes, that's interesting. So Xoloitzcuintli was a very important animal in this culture, even though whenever they ate a Xoloitzcuintli, it was not because they said, molito de Xoloitzcuintli. It was because it was with any religious reason. All right. Yes.
Well, it exists now, Xoloitzcuintli.
Oh, yes.
It's not for it, but it's a raza of Mexican dog and exists.
A Mexican dog's race, and they are very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just for exclusive people. Yes, that's it. All right. Do you know what? Talking about those ancient cultures, we may think that everything was in the past, and nowadays there is no worshiping. But what do you think about it? now any kind of worship, or it has finished?
I don't understand the question, teacher.
¿Creen ustedes que ese tipo de idolatrías ya se terminó o todavía existen?
I think it exists because it's the human natural belief in many things. It's maybe in the big cities, the life is sophisticated, and the people don't think about that, but in the little cities or towns in the country, I think it's believe in everything things.
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree with you. You know what? In some other countries, there are many other kinds of idolatry. For example, look at this. We have India. In India, there is a rat temple. In that place, rats are fed with milk. So milk is very expensive because it is a very, not all the people can drink milk, because remember that cows are sacred. Rats can drink milk, and there's a special place for worshiping rats. They consider that rats are the impersonation of gods. So they have the capability to help people, to guide them, and to intercede before the gods for people. So that's why rats are worshipped. So in that temple, it is possible. Well, the rats are everywhere, and people walk around the rats. But you have to be very careful whenever you walk there, because you shouldn't hurt any rat. Of course, if the rats go next to you, you can feel blessed, because it means that God is paying attention to you. But if you hurt a rat, you can have a disgrace. So it is very important to take care of rats there in that temple. Haven't you heard anything like this?
No, rats. No.
No, that's it. You know what? Look for that into YouTube. Look for the Temple of the Rats in India. I think that it is in Bahrain, but I'm not very sure. I'm not very sure about the exact place. But yes, there exists the Rat Temple. In the Himalaya also, people believe that monkeys are sacred animals. They are wise animals that can give you advice. So they also worship monkeys. And let's go back to India again. In India, cows are considered holy and auspicious. So that's why they not only let cows walk freely all through the streets, but also they protect them. And you know what? It is a crime if you kill a cow. I thought that it was just a religious situation, but I was talking to my daughter. She's a sociologist, and she told me that in India it is also a crime if you kill a cow, if you eat a cow. And this position was taken by Mahatma Gandhi because of political reasons. The reason was that he was trying to stop the American people and the English people because they were trying to colonize again India. They were trying to industrialize the India. And so he didn't want them to intervene in the politics of India. So it was not only a religious reason, but also now it's law. You can go to jail if you kill a cow or you eat a cow.
Órale. It's curious.
Yeah, too much. I didn't know about that, but as I told you before, I was talking to my daughter and she told me, no, mommy, it is not only religious, it is also law, it's political. And I said, oh my, I didn't
It's,
know about that.
well, here in Mexico, we can go to jail if you kill a cow, if you in the carretera,
In the highway?
in the in the road, you push
You crash?
car crash. Yes, in I am in where I live and I hear when I live. It's traditional in the road. The cows walk on the road, and in the night, it's a car crash,
My
chocan
goodness. Yeah, they crash with cows.
with the cows. Yes,
Oh my. And
the ranchos las dejan pastar in the road.
that's too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you back out with your car, then you go to jail.
Yes,
That's so unfair. Well, but anyway, yes, you have to be very, very careful if you are driving around.
yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Nelly, do you know about any animal worship, actual animal worship?
No, teacher.
Oh, in Mexico, do we have any animal worshiping?
Mm, I don't know.
What I believe that nowadays, well, it is not a worshiping, but there's a new culture because some people don't want to have children and they have some perrijos. So have their dogs or their cats and they treat them as if they were kids. So they feed them as well. They may not spend a lot of money on their own food, but they spend lots of money on the special food for their dogs. They can also not go to the doctor, but the veterinarian is very frequent and things like those. I think that it is very good to pay attention to animals. If you have a pet, you have to be very responsible about their care. But, well, in my point of view, it is excessive. What's your opinion about it, Nelly?
I agree because the people think that the dogs and cats are how the best friend of people, no? And many people take care about these pets.
That's it. Okay, it is very good. It's good to take care of the animals, but some people go to the excess. What do you
Yes.
think about it, Pablo?
I think it's the dogs and the cats are beautiful animals, but are animals, not are people. And I think it's to respect the her life. If you love with animals, because no no los vistes, no los respetas with animals.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, but there is some people who go to excessive cares, and that's what I don't agree. Sometimes they say my dog is first of my family, and I said no, I'm sorry. Of course, animals are very good friends, but well, why not to take care of? If you don't have a child, why don't you take care of an orphan? There are many orphan children. They don't have a father, they don't have a mother, and they need a home. So if you need somebody to take care, why don't you adopt a child? You can have a child and a pet, but well, there are different opinions. All right, so let's go to the next. It is going to be very interesting. Well, from my point of view, people has the necessity of begging, praise sometimes to a superior power. We need to feel the protection of somebody else and believe that there is someone who is interested in our problems. We need the favor and the mercy for anyone else. So people have now different ways of worshiping. Idolatry. Here we are. In my opinion, nowadays people worship themselves. People worship money. People also worship material possessions. Or they may worship some sports, celebrity, or some devices. Here we have another kind of idolatry. What's your opinion about this, Nelly?
About what?
About the new idolatry.
For example, about football or sports, any sports. There are many people that is exaggerate with, for example, in my case, I had a son with like football, soccer, but I think that it's very, very exaggerate with when his favorite club anota goles.
They score a goal.
Yes. Or with other sport. Que luego se andan peleando, ¿no?
That's it. They go into violent
Yes.
behavior.
Yes.
I think that it is the bad part. Yes, they do violence into the stadiums. They are violent, even for example, in a family reunion, they are talking and suddenly they begin to talk about soccer and they begin fighting.
Yes, or maybe with her neighborhood.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It's terrible.
that's extreme. Pablo, what do you think about it?
Well, it's a incredible tema. Um, uh, uh, in the first of the class, we talk about the culture Greek, and I remember the Narciso, the story of Narciso. If a history of the man with love her or love himself, and see the in the lake, see the reflejo, and he loves su reflejo.
Uh-huh, yes.
I think it's of our naturaleza,
Nature.
idolatrar things. I think it's an our naturaleza.
Uh-huh, it's
Idolatramos persons, food, video games, players, money. Cada generation idolatry anything.
that's it. But nowadays we have the most powerful idolatry, that is telephones, cell phones, tablets, iPhones, iPads.
In this moment, I think it's the most idolatry.
Yes, that's it. And even I remember that there was a very interesting post where a mommy was, there was a mommy who was writing something, chatting with her cell phone, and her baby was saying, "Mommy, I am hungry." And mommy said, "Hey, leave me alone. I'm going to feed you later. Don't you know that I am posting that you are the most important part of my life?" Oh my. So that's contradictory.
See, it's
You know what? I was riding my bicycle this week, and in 2 times I was to crash a boy. And it was because they were walking down the street and their mommy didn't pay attention to them because they were chatting on their cell phones. They were texting. And that's incredible because, of course, when you are walking down the street with your baby, you have to take care of her or of him. But I was going to crash them. But of course, I realized and I stopped. And their mommy didn't realize that there was going to happen an accident to their babies because they were paying attention to their cell phones. I said, it's incredible. And even whenever I stopped, they turned around and they said very angrily, "Hey, pay attention on the road." Of course I paid attention. If I hadn't paid attention, I would have crashed to their babies.
yes, it's a right it's a multa,
A fine.
a fine for drive with cellular now.
Mm-hmm. How much is it? I guess it is very expensive, isn't it? Kind of like 12,000 pesos.
I don't know. It's 8 or 12,000. I
So
don't remember.
but it's a very expensive fine.
Yes.
And it's very good. In my point of view, it's very good.
Yep.
All right. So what's your opinion about any other way of idolatry nowadays? What about the idolatry that people feel about money?
It's too difficult because the money is necessary, but I think the people may be crazy for the money.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I think? That whenever we have enough money to have a comfortable life, we want more and more and more because we don't feel enough comfortable. We feel that we can get more and we need more. We turn necessities, well, we turn ideas into necessities. So what's your opinion about it?
I hear that many people are already looking to sell things online, like Mercado Libre, but I don't know how safe this is.
Cell phones online?
Many things, cell phones and
Yeah, it is the
uh-huh.
shopping.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's it. That's a new way of slavery.
For earn more money.
Yeah, that's it. So we need more and more and more money because anything is going to be enough.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Well, thank you very much. All right. Well, I don't know if you want to ask any question, to say any other comment about this, any commentary.
Well, I think the money it's a big telaraña,
A big web.
a big web, and uno gasta,
We spent.
we spend in things, and that thing more things, and it's too difficult to live to that vice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it is a never ending. It won't stop ever.
And the many things duran.
They last.
They last a few minutes,
Yes, that's it.
a few moments, and we need buy another and another and another.
It is
It's
similar. Yes.
then I'm finished.
Yeah, it is. Well, in my opinion, it is similar to what happens with cell phones and devices because the new one is on fashion, and I think that, okay, the one that I have is working good, but I need the new one because it is more beautiful and it has more applications and it is more useful, and I don't want it, I need it. So that's the point where we are slaves of a vice. So it is vicious.
Yes, it's a vicious.
So we need to work more to stop paying attention to our family, to buy more, just to buy. And that's our life. Work to buy. Work to buy, buy. Buying. That's everything.
Yes.
buy and pay.
We have to be careful with our resources, and we have to be good stewards so that our finances do not get out of control.
That's it. That is very wise. I totally agree with you.
Me too.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your attention, for your attendance, and for your participation, your brilliant participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a very good